off a slump, a crazy motherfucker named Nipsey. I'm turned up cause I grew up in the 60s. Caution to you rap niggas try and diss me. I go hard, that's why your bitch wanna flip me. Big guns, nigga turn rivals into rosaries, extended clips. I give a fuck who you.
Guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. We are looking at our first send today from the house that is Hugobos. Adriana from Decant Shop has sent me a few for sample shopping, and we've talked about those, but we've never reviewed a full bottle before, so we're going to talk about XY today. And before we do that, let's talk Hugobos. Hugobos was a house started in the mid-1920s by a German gentleman named Hugobos. The company was founded and actually still resides in a city called Metzingen. And in 1931, the business went bankrupt, so Boss made a deal with his creditors, which allowed him to keep 6 of his sewing machines and nothing else. That year, he became a member of the Nazi Party, which helped his economic situation. He designed Nazi uniforms, and there's a pretty prominent photograph of him in his apartment with Adolf Hitler. Now, after the war in 1946, he was looked at as a supporter of the party. He was subsequently stripped of his voting rights, his capacity to run a business, and fined a very hefty penalty. He died in 1948, but the business carried on. Now, just so you guys know, I have heard some things about Hugobos, but until I did this video, I didn't know that. So does it change the way I look at Hugobos? Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to lie about that. But because of that ban, Boss's son-in-law, Eugene Oli, took it over. And in 1950s, after mostly supplying orders for work uniforms, they received their first order for men's suits, which really took the company to the next tier. In the late 70s, they began partnership with motorsports, Formula One and the McLaren team. In 1984, they released their first fragrance. They received a golf sponsorship contract. In 1987, they received a tennis sponsorship contract. And in 1989, they were purchased by a large Japanese group. In 1991, they were acquired by the Marzotto Textile Group. And that's when the Hugo and Baldessarini brands were introduced. Now, Baldessarini was supposed to be a high-end of Hugo Boss, sort of like Hugo Boss's private label, clothing and fragrances. You guys know, probably you've seen some of their fragrances. They were sort of Boss's first attempt at a private label fragrance. I have one, Baldessarini Amber, which is okay. You know, it's definitely no great shakes. I think some of those fragrances are okay. Most of them just sort of smell like designer fragrances to me, though. In 2005, they spun off their brand into the Valentino Fashion Group, and as of today, Boss has 6,100 points of sale in 124 countries, including 364 standalone retail stores. So again, you know, definitely a shady history. Look, is it going to make me not purchase Boss products? I don't know. I really have to think that through. You know, it's the company now totally exists today from different people, but it is sort of weird to think about, you know, where Boss came from. But I've never been a huge fan of their fashion. You know, I have a couple of dress shirts. I have one sport jacket. I think they've done some decent stuff, especially since being acquired by an Italian group. But I just prefer other brands, especially with their controversial history. On the fragrance side of things, I own this one. That's the only one I own as of now. I have plans to purchase Hugo, which I owned and loved in high school, and I also would like to get Boss Bottled, which is a great scent that I'll add to my collection as well. I think they make a lot of redundant, boring energy / sports scents. I would like to check out their newer sort of Privé line, which is called their Collection line. And as I said, I do own Amber by Baldessarini, and I would like actually to get Strictly Private from Baldessarini as well. It gets some comparisons to Tuscan Leather. XY was a total blind buy. I was looking for a pear scent after loving Wild Pears by Montel and Bellaline by Parfum MDCI. I wasn't in love with the idea of paying a lot of money for a one-dimensional pear scent, so I decided to blind buy this one. Now, there are 65 fragrances in the Hugo Boss catalog. Their scents today are produced in conjunction with Procter & Gamble, which also does scents for Alexander McQueen, Dolce & Gabbana, Escada, Gucci, Lacoste, Roches, and Zur. This is the 100 ml of XY, which I purchased off Amazon for $30. It has a summer flanker called Summer XY, and notes here are pear leaf, cedar, and bergamot at the top, basil and mint in the middle, and patchouli, musk, and cedar in the base. Now, as far as your presentation goes, box just says Hugo XY Man. You have a sort of outline of the bottle on the side, Hugo.com on the side, and that is it. The bottle, bottle. Nothing on the top. The cap is light. Well, actually, it's metal, and it's actually relatively heavy. I take that back. Okay, atomizer, nothing special. Nothing on the bottom. I like it. I have to say, I actually think it's a pretty cool, very minimalist sort of German presentation. I think they did a fine job with this. And so I was looking to find a really good designer pear scent here, and man, did I get a dud. But I did finally find that great pear scent, which we're going to take a look at in a couple of weeks, and it only cost me $13. Regardless, let's break down XY. So this one opens up with a really synthetic sweetness that I think you'd be hard-pressed to identify as pear or pear leaves. It just sort of has a green sweetness. It's definitely light. It definitely has some freshness to it, but the big letdown is that there's just this synthetic, almost vinyl or plastic smell that runs through the spine of this scent that doesn't feel like it belongs, and I think it taints the entire scent. Maybe there's some herbalness in the middle stages. As it dries down, I definitely get some patchouli, but that patchouli doesn't smell like good patchouli. It just smells entirely too synthetic, almost like a cheap room spray. Fragrance bros use the term baloney cologne a lot, and that's exactly what XY is. It is baloney cologne. It doesn't evolve into anything interesting. That synthetic tone is always there, and it really doesn't do great in terms of performance either. It does not project well. It doesn't last. This is a 4-hour juice at the tops, will project for 2. If a woman is into pear scent, she could wear this one, but you could do so much better. It is a spring or summer fragrance and not strong enough at all to work in the cold weather. It could work, I would say, as a work or gym scent, and that is about all. If you were looking for something similar or just a good pear scent, check out Wasabi Pear by Nest, which is the $13 one we're going to talk about in a couple weeks. Check out Wild Pears by Montal. Check out MDCI's Belle Helene. And if you're looking for a better Boss scent, just check out Hugo or Boss Bottled. Those two both destroy this scent. I think if someone were trying to talk you into purchasing this, they would tell you that it's a good starter scent, perhaps. For someone who just wants to smell clean, it's got a decent price point. As I said, I think I paid $30, and it's pretty unusual for a designer offering actually. I think if someone were trying to talk you out of this, they would just say it's a synthetic mess. Wasabi pear smells so much more natural, so much greener, and you could have it really, really cheap. Not good performance, and there are just so many fresh scents that are better than this one. For me, XY is a really clear 3 out of 10. I think I'm being generous with that. The best thing that I could say here is this doesn't smell horrible. But that's really about it. It smells pleasant, and if you're just concerned with not smelling bad, then it's very possible for you to wear this and possibly get some compliments and not think twice. But if you're here watching my cologne videos, chances are you're interested in scent, and at that point, skip this one. The price is fine, the presentation's pretty cool, but there isn't one thing at all special about XY. When I get Hugo or Boss Bottles, I would definitely like to do another review, because this is a house that's capable of producing good fragrances. They need to edit down some of their releases and pay more attention to producing less unique and high quality fragrances. Less fragrances in general and more unique and high quality ones. So guys, that has been my review of XY. If you have any questions about this fragrance, please feel free to reach out, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys again next week with more videos. My name is Maximilian.
You broke, nigga, you can follow me. It's fuck bitches, get money, keep some hollow heads logically. And I'm for where I'm a side.